right. All right, we are live here. All right, test 1 2, test 1 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Apparently, all right, it is going through. All right, good. All right, welcome everybody to tonight's edition of MLR Tonight. It is a beautiful St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you here in the MLR. We've got a great lineup for you tonight here on MLR Tonight. First off, the Phillies GM. Why on earth did I make that typo? I'm sorry, Jay. I said you're the Cardinals GM. I don't know why. The Phillies GM and the host of Make a Case on the MLR Network, Mr. Jay Bird.
Wow.
Jay, how are you?
It's good, and I don't mind. I like the Cardinals, so it's not the worst team to be a quote-unquote GM of.
And also joining us tonight, catcher for the Houston Astros and host of MLR Network Top 10, Mr. Kev. How are you?
I'm good. Hey guys, you didn't put me down as the Cardinals GM?
Why don't we all be Cardinals GM for the day?
We can't all be Jeff.
We are all the Cardinals GM on this blessed day. All right, we've got some great games to dive into, and we have a lot of live look-ins. As Session 8 kicked off today on St. Patrick's Day, we have a lot of action to dig into. So let's start with a live look-in here out in Los Angeles. Pittsburgh at LA here. Lance Lummox at the plate. Things did not go too well to start out for Brady McElroy on the mound today. The first three batters he faced all got on. First, Jimmy Johns got a double. He ended up on second. Then Joey Bagpipes walked on 4 straight balls, and then Gare Doctor got a single to load the bases. Lance Lummox hitting .455 on the year, maybe making a case to be on the All-Star bench. Potentially here, he'll look McElroy dead in the eyes as the first pitch comes in for a strike. 0-1 count for Lummox as he begins to swing. Lummox, he's done some pretty clutch things for the Pirates here. It'd be nice if he got another clutch hit right about now. Here comes the 0-1 count. Oh, man, that is drilled high and deep to left center field. They're not going to be able to get there. That's going to drop right in front of Scotty Smalls. Scotty Smalls scoops it up. Jimmy Johns will score. Joey Bagpipes will score. Doctor slides headfirst into third, but the throw is heading towards second. Lummox, will he get there? Yes! He gets in there. The throw by Scotty Smalls is not in time. Lummox is safe with a 2-run double here in the first. The Pirates lead this one 2-0 now off the 2 RBI double by Lance Lummox. Wow, what do y'all think of this game early on as the Pirates just now have taken their 2-0 lead over the struggling Los Angeles Dodgers?
I think, well, I know Lummox a lot. Lummox, I umped his game against the Cardinals, and this dude, he's coming into this game. He already is a pretty big force to be reckoned with. And of course, he starts off that game with a leadoff homer. So when I think of Lummox, I think of a guy who can produce RBIs. And I mean, this is just old news for Lummox.
Yeah, no, this Pirates lineup is just insane. If you're looking at it, just going down. Gare's back in. Like Jay said, Lummox is a monster. Westenberg's doing pretty well. Bach, who was he was leading a lot of hitting categories earlier in the season.
Bach had like an 800 average for like the first 4 sessions. That guy's insane.
That guy's a monster. And then, Moose McCracken's pretty good too. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little bit expected from Pittsburgh to take that early lead against the struggling, Dodgers team.
They have a few guys here that I don't really recognize. I recognize them, but I don't recognize them in play. For example, Buckeye Logan. I've seen him around. I think he talked shit on the Phillies. He's like, oh yeah, I forgot the Phillies exist. And meanwhile, he's like Buckeye Logan the second.
Who are you?
I caught it late, so I wasn't able to I was gonna 4 hours later be like, hey, you don't talk shit on my team. But yeah, I'm always excited to see rookies though. Despite that, I'm excited to see rookies. I want to see what they can do. I know Ross Jackson. He's the guy with the NASCAR avatar. He's big in the fake NASCAR scene, fake racing. But yeah, they had a bit of a speed bump. The Pittsburgh Pirates had a speed bump in their game against the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have become. We'll get to the Cardinals later. Yeah, I mean, they didn't exactly do awfully. I mean, they started out the game very well. They still showed some offensive competence, and I think Los Angeles has a lot to work with, given their pitching has had a lot of struggles.
What do you think about the pitching in general for this game? Because I don't recognize that Pittsburgh
Because isn't this his first game?
It might be. I think that's Grey Oak. Sounds
he has a Game of Thrones ass name. Let me tell you.
Talius Grey Oak. Yeah.
I love that. I love creative names in this game. Names that are like creative and not dick jokes are just a breath of fresh air. So there's him. I hope. I really would like to see a name like that on top of the leaderboards by the end of the season, like Talius Grey Oak, Cy Young Award winner. So by that metric alone, I'm cheering for Pittsburgh there. We know Brady. I think he's McElroy. Dougie was McElroy, so Brady's McElroy. I wish him the best. He's had some troubles in his last game. He gave up a pretty penny. Maybe he can dust it off. I mean, he's having some troubles here, so maybe I hope he can figure it out. I hope he can figure it out, basically.
Yeah, Brady's been inconsistent for sure. I know when he got that first start against the Brewers, he pretty much completely shut them down. And then, like you said, last game was a little bit rough. So
who did he verse? Colorado?
Last game, yeah, Colorado.
Yeah, I know he did really good in his first game, so that's kind of a shame.
Was he? I'm not actually sure if he was in for the whole game against the Rockies.
I mean, this is new age fake baseball. So a lot of these games are mainly going to be like four innings for a starter, and then you're going to bring in a reliever. Relievers have become like a big thing. I mean, I used Quinn as my reliever, so I understand why he didn't go the whole way, and plus. I mean, if you're dealing, you don't want to like have that inning, that Sunny Streaker inning where you just give up like 7 runs.
That Sunny Streaker inning.
I'm only saying that because like he was notoriously like really good for like most of a game, and then he would give up like a big spot. At least Cash has told me about this, where he just give up a big spot, and it's like poor guy. So like you want to avoid that, and I think they've been doing a good MLR managers have been doing a good job with that.
Don't mean to interrupt here, but we have breaking news coming out of Minnesota. Another quick live look in. Let's head out to Target Field as the umpire of the game, or one of the umpires, Mr. Doc J. I'm part of the Bat and Corbett crew, has joined us live on air to deliver the result. First of all, Doc, how are you this evening?
How are you?
Good, Doc. Why don't you deliver the result and tell us, what did Ziggy Cedar, the Toronto leadoff hitter, do at the plate in this one?
Just checking in, it's 3-0 Toronto in the top of the second. Daniel Collins is pitching, and Ziggy Cedar is up. A leadoff home run in the first. There's a runner on first with 1 out, and it's a 2-1 count right now. Collins throws an unexpected curveball, and Cedar just gets embarrassed. His knees buckle. I don't know how he's going to come back from that one. Pitch, Collins nods his head. He throws the high cheese, but Cedar loves cheese, and he hits that one hard, deep to left field and into the second deck. Home run of the day. 5-0 Blue Jays, and the home fans are stunned.
5-0.
Wow.
Who are they versing?
The Twins.
The Twins. Let me bring this game thread up. You guys talk for a second.
Kev, what do you think about the way the Blue Jays have almost began to manhandle Minnesota here early in this one? I mean, we talked about last night in the podcast that we thought this was going to be game of the week, probably. ALCS, maybe a preview for what potentially could be the best 2 teams in the AL come Session 18. What do you think about Toronto just dismantling Minnesota here?
Yeah, I know Collins had a rough first inning. Even to the point where his manager had to come out to the mound and have a little talk with him, instill some confidence there. But it doesn't look like anything's changed in the second inning here. To kind of like compare that to the Toronto pitching, Gasting had a really quick first inning. 2 strikeouts, one. I don't know what the other one was, but 2 strikeouts for those first 3 outs. I don't know. It's not looking good for them. I think one thing to keep in mind is that Minnesota always has Tim Burr to bring in.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He's gotten a lot of attention lately, throwing that 1 hitter, I think last session. But I still think I think even despite that, he's so underrated. So yeah, Minnesota always has that option. It might be, I don't know if it's a little too late now that it's 5-0. So Minnesota always has that, and then Hopkins. I think if you have Hopkins on the team, you're always in it. So it's not looking good, but they're definitely not out of it completely here.
What is with Mr. Ryan Gasting? I feel like I'm gonna look up his stat page right now, but I'm pretty sure he throws just like exclusively strikeouts. 13 strikeouts, and now he adds 15, and it's only two innings into the game. It's a whole thing about pitching in this game. I mean, Ryan Gasting and the Toronto pitching in general is just incredible. Like, they're so underrated. Gasting does not get the love he deserves. I always think of him as like I don't know if it's because they came in at the same time, but I always compare him to Chipper Dipper. Like, they're both like very good underrated AL pitchers. In this, I feel like they're very comparable. But it's just like Toronto has a great pitcher, and like Minnesota. I mean, I don't know a lot about Collins, but I don't think this would have happened with Burr, and I think that. I think Collins has a lot to work with, obviously, work on. And I agree with Kevin that if they bring in Timber, I don't think that handle the Twins as they have been this early on in the game. And I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't bar a comeback. I mean, they have explosive powers. Johnny Hopkins is a beast. I know Daz Reference can hit a ball pretty well. I don't think it's done. I think it's a long shot. If they bring in Burr, I mean, I know Mike or Charlie Scott will probably want to like get equal time for each of his pitchers. So we'll see. When they bring in Burr, if they bring in Burr, they probably will bring in Burr. I think the runs from the Blue Jays side will stop, and I think that the Twins will get their only chance to actually go against him. But I mean, this is fake baseball. It's a very offensive league. A lot of comebacks have happened from a lot worse differences. And so, I don't know. We'll see. It's early in the game, and I believe in the Twins.
Jay, speaking as a GM, in a situation like this, where you have Collins starting, who's a relatively new pitcher. I think this is his third or second game or something. And he has done pretty well when he started. And you have Burr in the bullpen. When do you bring in Burr? You as a GM. In the game versus Cleveland in session 4 or session 3, I started Hudson Quinn. It was the last time he started since then. I've been using him as a reliever since, and I just feel like he's a better reliever, and it kind of showed. He had a really hard time, and I pulled him after 2 outs. I didn't give him a full inning, and I think that was mostly due to the fact that he did pitch most of the game previously in session 2. So I was a little quick to pull the trigger. Even if I feel like there's a certain you need to make sure your guys their morale stays high. And I feel like being able, like, taking them out, being able to dust them off and be like, okay, you'll have a fresh slate your next game, and meanwhile bring in a pitcher that might do better against the team. I think that raises the morale of the pitcher who might have been saved from giving up more runs, and it might have saved the game because you're bringing in a pitcher that might be doing better. So I know a lot of GMs are a big focal point of their game is to divvy up time equally no matter what the case. I don't know. I feel like I would take him out about now. That would be my call.
All right, let me just hop in here and talk about how we may have another live update coming out of AT&T Park in San Francisco. Rockies and Giants facing off of this one. This one just got underway. Kilgannon led it off with a flyout, but Joshua Jr. Roth is currently at the plate. He just submitted his swing. We are waiting to hear back from the Frank Drebin crew on what that result is. As soon as we get it, we'll bring it to you here live on MLR Tonight. Let's go through a couple of games that have had a little bit of action to begin. And let's talk about what may be our NL game of the week. Brewers and Nationals out in Washington, D.C. at Nationals Park. Certainly, probably the best pitching matchup we've had all year, as Dan Jerzone and Hudson Hildebrandt are going toe-to-toe for what could be the final spot on the NL All-Star pitching rotation. So far this game, not much offense. Casey Jones led it off for the Milwaukee Brewers with left ground out down the third base. Omega throws over, get the first out. Then Scottish Twiggy will follow it up, being struck out on 3 pitches by Hildebrandt. So Hildebrandt threw 2 batters now and has a strikeout already, and he's looking to get third out of the inning here against James Meso, who is currently at the plate. When we get that result, we'll bring it to you. What do you guys think? I want to get your opinion on this pitching matchup that could be for the All-Star game. How much implications for the All-Star game, the Cy Young, what implications does this game have on this Season 2 of Major League Redball?
Well, I feel like when you're going to me as a source, it's a little bit of a. I don't want to speak too much on this because I'm kind of the manager for the NL All-Star team. I have to talk with the people who I'm managing with, but I feel like there's just the NL is just a pain in the ass. There's just so many good pitchers in this league. I think this is going to be a very interesting pitching battle, and these 2 pitchers have a lot to pitch for. Hudson definitely needs a little more under his belt when it comes to innings. How many does he have? Like 13. And I mean, Gerzone has a lot more innings with comparable numbers. Yeah, Gerzone has like double that with comparable numbers. I feel like if we're unless Gerzone gets blown up here again, like because he's had some trouble recently. If he gets blown up here, then Hildebrandt will definitely have more of a case. But I don't know. I think Gerzone has. I think he has more under his belt, and I think I believe in him more as an all-star caliber pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite as interesting of a matchup. I mean, the Washington Nationals offense has struggled. Gerzone is he's a seasoned pitcher. I mean, he has almost 30 innings pitched, I think. And I don't think the Brewers actually have another pitcher on their staff to, or actually they might. I think in the trade that I was part of, they acquired a pitcher. So
yeah, Logan Anderson.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think Hildebrandt has the volume to be in that conversation yet. You know, obviously, if he comes out here and he just completely shuts out the Brewers, sure. But I don't know. I think the Brewers are pretty decent offensively. I think Hildebrandt will struggle a little bit. And I don't think it's going to be a tough game for Gerzone at all. I mean, the Nationals offense has been pretty rough.
I do think there's one thing that might get Hildebrandt into the All-Star game, and that is the quota system where each team has to have one player. And I think the Brewers could sneak somebody in another position more so than the Nationals can. What are some Nationals offensive pieces? I mean, Heinrich Omega.
Heinrich
Omega. He had a really good game.
Well, I was gonna say,
who else? We got
Nationals just lost their other good pitcher to retirement. Bo Cancello was hitting .400 from the plate, and now he's gone. He could have been that guy for the Nationals. I understand probably didn't want to go 3 first basemen there, assuming that Bach and Forehead Jones will both make the team, even if one is on the bench. But Cancello was the guy to go to the All-Star game should Hildebrandt not be the 4th pitcher, and now he's out of the picture. So do you go Omega? Do you go Hildebrandt but Scottish Twiggy for Milwaukee? I mean, there's plenty of options to wheel and deal. I mean, you could just not go Peters, and you could have a guy like Kimbrel or Kimthrow Bernie on the team. There are ways and means to get what you need, I'd say, onto that NL lineup, but it's just going to be hard to satisfy everybody because there's so many deserving players.
It's going to be a mixing and matching game, basically. It's gonna be fun seeing how these rosters will sort of fulfill requirements while also fulfilling skill level requirements, like fulfilling who deserves it versus okay, who's gonna be on this team to satisfy a certain team's quota needs. So, I mean, that's something that me and Steelflex and whoever else is in the management team, it's going to be something that we're going to have to take into consideration when we're picking these pitchers. So, I mean, Hildebrandt obviously is a fantastic pitcher. I feel like he's been, I wouldn't say a victim, but he's been subject to a more rigid rotational system compared to Gerzone, who has been basically his only pitcher since Sonny Streaker got traded. And so I think, I don't know, I think that Gerzone is a better pitcher, hands down. I feel like he has more of a repertoire, and I would pick him over Hildebrandt. But when it comes to satisfying needs, Hildebrandt is an all-star. He deserves to be an all-star. And I think he has an all-star caliber makeup. And so I wouldn't hate putting him on that team.
Alrighty, let's hop over and do.
Especially because there's not.
Sorry, you can go ahead, Kev. Sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead. It's fine. No, it's fine.
You sure? Okay. Let's go ahead and look at another one.
Let's go on.
Let's go ahead and look at another one of Jay's teams. Then let's look at his natural team, the Philadelphia Phillies. On what I thought was his actual team earlier in the podcast, the St. Louis Cardinals. Not much going on right now. We were waiting on a swing from Zach Anderson at the moment. Still no score in this one, 0-0. This one was led off by Charlie Bay Jr. Leading things off for the Phillies. He grounded out on the right side from McGougle to whoever the first baseman is for the Cardinals, whatever. One out there, and then fly spaceman gets up and flies it out to Sleeve McDykel for the second out. And now Zach Anderson stands in, trying to get on base here, while Bob Cooter looks to get the final out of the inning. Jay, let me get your opinion on this, because I asked Mattis about this for his team going into a key game. What is your team's mindset going into this key game against the Cardinals?
I think the article from Jack Bing really sort of highlighted the team, how the team thinks going into this game against the Cardinals. We know that we're a big underdog, but we also see the Cardinals as like a shining beacon of a team who were underdogs, and like they were one of the worst teams and they became one of the best teams. And so in a way, we're using the Cardinals' belief strategy against them. I feel like something has to give with this Phillies team, and this is entirely because I'm the GM, and it's entirely because I'm biased for my team. But I feel like we have a great group of guys. They're mostly isolated to our Discord, but we have a great group of guys here who are really dedicated to this game, and we have a good scouting department. Shout out to Mr. Charlie Bay Jr. I love that guy. He's a great scout. He does his job very well. He's just been working really hard at trying to figure out Jim Bob before the game begins. And so I believe in this team. We have a lot of young guys. We have a lot of guys that people have never heard of, because I reinvented this team. I wanted to get a new clubhouse. I wanted to get a better clubhouse. And with more roster spaces, I just wanted to branch out. And so I made sure I got guys that were here. They were going to show up, and they were going to win or lose, be ecstatic about the game, love their team, and just be high morale. And so I don't care if I'm versing the Athletics. I don't care if I'm versing the Cardinals. I don't care if I'm versing the Nationals. I know for a fact that my guys here are going to be, I don't care, like we could be down 9-2 in the bottom of the sixth. My guys are going to be scouting, trying to figure out what that pitch is. It may not have worked out that much yet, but I mean, we've gotten two wins in a row before the Giants, where I think we looked strong, especially pitching wise. And so I think we might, there's a very good chance that this team could be the next meme, the next breakout team, the next meme team. And I think that we could show that very well against the Cardinals here. I think this could be a stepping stone. And so, yeah, I like this team.
Kev, I will get your opinion on this game in a second here, but we have one quick live look and we need to hit on. Back out to Target Field. Jam's not going to give us the update this time, but Graham's at the plate. Obviously, he set an electric gear. He's going to line one right out to right field. Going to bounce off the wall. He's going to round first, slide into second heads first. He will be safe. Another double, not an RBI double this time with the bases cleared, but another double, another hit off Daniel Collins, the 7th hit of the day for the Toronto Blue Jays. He is safe at second base with a double, and now his brother Milo Grams will be coming up to the plate to swing here momentarily. All right, back to this Phillies-Cardinals game. Kev, let me get your opinion here. What do you think about this matchup, and any sort of ideas, players you like, anything along those lines?
Yeah. So, Jay was talking about this being a good opportunity for the Phillies to break out. And I mean, I agree. I think if it's any game, it's this one. You're up against the team that I think has the record right now for the most wins in a row for this season, at least. They're at 5 wins. They have the longest win streak currently. They're a team that's, pretty similar to the Phillies in that they started out, being pretty awful. And now they're at the top, near the top of the league, 5 wins in a row. They have a pretty good. I like Dashington. I like Dashington and Nine Fingers on the Cardinals. I think Dashington does not have that many at bats, but he's got his production has been crazy in the limited amount of at bats that he's gotten. And Nine Fingers is just, he's just a good outfielder. So they definitely have some power, the Cardinals. But if you look at their stats, they're not, no one on their team is really like. I don't think they have anyone on their team that is just amazing. They just have
Cardinals?
Not amazing to me. They have a good group of guys, and I think they're just a good team. They're a very good group of players.
I would argue that Logan Nine Fingers has been pretty
good. He's pretty good. That's the one person I think that they bring up whenever anyone starts talking about All-Star Game. Stuff is just Nine Fingers, he doesn't get enough credit. Sure, okay, yeah, he doesn't. But in my head, that's how I think about them. I just think about them as a very good. And I guess I'm not trying to say that none of them are amazing or anything individually, but just as a team, I think of them as being better as a team, as a group of players, as opposed to just they have these 2 really good guys and they're gonna care, like nothing like that. So I don't know. I think the Phillies have their work cut out for them. I like Oliver Yu as a pitcher a lot, and I really hope he does well. But yeah, the Phillies definitely have a chance, and if they do get this win, I think this, like Jay said, this could be their breakout game. They could be the next Cardinals. They can snowball this and take this momentum and just get a couple of other wins. And we'll see. We'll see what the Cardinals do after this game.
All right.
If they win or lose, we'll see. We'll see how they go.
All right, let's go to another quick live look and back out to AT&T Park. That result did come in for Joshua Jr. Roth here, the second hitter rather in the Rockies lineup. He's going to line one on the 1-1 pitch right down to Andrew Sourdough, the shortstop for the Giants, and he's going to toss it over to first base. Second out of the inning. Score still 0-0 as we've got an interesting game here out in San Francisco. A hard-hitting Rockies team and a very red-hot Giants team all coming together. So I guess it's kind of the unstoppable force against the immovable object with this Colorado-San Francisco game. Hey, would you blow me about the swing here, by the way? The designated hitter for Colorado hitting 357 on the year. An underrated hitter. Yes, I heard you laughing, Jay. Anyway, so we got an interesting matchup.
Yeah, you said, hey, would you blow me?
A rookie pitcher for the Giants is the interesting thing here. Peter's not starting, trying to make a case for the All-Star team. He's not going to start. They're going to go with Ambiorix, Matt Avapeti here starting for the Giants, a rookie. We may see Peters in relief, from my understanding. We might be able to get that. Who knows? What do you guys think about this matchup here? This is the third batter of the inning with Jablomi. First batter was Kilgannon, who flew out, and then, of course, Roth, who just grounded out the shortstop. What do y'all think about this matchup here with Murphy versus Matt Avapeti and everybody else in the lineup, and a chance for Rockies to pick up a huge win here out in the Bay Area?
Go ahead, Kev.
So it's not. I don't think it's a crazy thought to say that the Giants look good in this game to beat the Rockies. The Rockies are coming off a really good win, a really big win against the Dodgers. But I don't know. I personally, I like the Giants as a team. I think they're, and this is going to sound a little silly, but I think they're a lot better than they've been playing, a lot better than they look, even though they're 5-2 right now. I don't know. I think they could easily be 6-1 or undefeated. I really do think the Giants are, this is going to come back in. I think the Giants are the best team in the league, and I think this is going to be their breakout game. I really do think they're going to just we'll see how their pitcher does. If Peters was in, I would be a little bit more confident in saying this, but I really do think the Giants are going to do well this game, and they're just going to take this momentum and keep it going. I think the next big win streak we're gonna see could come from the Giants. And yeah, I don't know. I just think they're a very good team. Sometimes I don't give the Rockies as much credit as they deserve, but we'll see. We'll see how this ends up. I feel good about the Giants.
What's the longest? I think the longest win streak was the Twins at 5. I think the Giants could do that. It's just, I understand not starting Peters. They really want to like solidify his numbers for the All-Star game. They don't want him to have that inning that might push him back behind people like Garzone who are hungry for one of them top 2 spots. I still think that it's kind of weird. He hasn't started in 2 games, and we know that that very controversial SFG versus Phillies game, hashtag conspiracy. I'm just gonna, even though I know for a fact it was completely legit, I'm gonna pretend that it wasn't legit, right? That it wasn't legit, and pretend that all of that was didn't count, and we still have a winning streak on. But still, Giants, they're explosive. They have a very interesting, just looking across this lineup, looking across this box score. It's just like there's a few guys who are hitting like under the Mendoza line, but for the most part, it's 300, near 300, or above 300, and it's just if the Cardinals don't show a team that is very unified, like you said, that they don't have one guy that's particularly greater than the other, I think the Giants show that more. They're just such a complete, like, overall good team. I think that they have more good players, solid players, than they do not, and I think that just shows in their winnings, in their WLR. I think they're a really good team. And how about the Rockies? What do you think about the Rockies, Kev?
I don't know. I think once they saw who was going to be on MLR Tonight today, they said get ready for some Rockies bashing.
They think I hate them. I don't know why. It's because one time I'll make a case.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me interrupt here. Quick game update. Rather, we're talking about the Rockies. 3 straight pitches there from Adam Petty, and he's going to strike out Jablomi on a nice 555 pitch against a 900 swing from Jablomi. That's going to retire the side. And Matt Petty gets a 1-2-3 inning to start out his Major League Red Ball career. Hank Murphy is headed out to the mound to start pitching for the Rockies. He'll face Kimbrel, Oxlittle, and Liu to kick things off in the bottom of the first. All right, what were you going to say there, Kev?
I was just going to talk about how, I don't know if that was like the Rockies' first episode of Make a Case, but normally what will happen is I will take secondary on like what argument to take. So I took Arizona mainly because like the other guy, I forget who I baited on that. Whatever. I think it was Dougie. They wanted to take Colorado. So I took Arizona. And I might have made like a very convincing argument for Arizona, but that's just because I'm great at arguing. What can I say? I like the Rockies. The only team that I absolutely hate with a fiery passion is Tampa. Quote me on that. I'm just kidding. I don't hate any team. It's just it's a show about arguing. I love you all, Rockies. You're a good group of guys. I still think Giants are going to beat you, but I respect you. I like your names. Yeah,
Jay, you get a lot of shit for just stuff that happens on your podcast, I think. And it is true, Jay gives like the guest the first pick and what they want to argue. So a lot of the times Jay is like stuck kind of arguing the unpopular opinion, sometimes like multiple episodes as well. Like if there's ever a pitching thing, Jay likes to bring up Cal. And sometimes that's because the other person picked the other side, So I don't know. That's it. That's all.
And then Tim, like I gave him the choice on an audience question from a Devil Rays player. Like, do the Devil Rays deserve hate? I gave Tim the option first, and Tim picked that he would argue for that, and I still got the hate. So it's a fun crowd. But anyway, back to the game. I'd like to see Murphy. I'd like to see what he can do. I think that the Rockies need more just like a good solid balance of pitching. I think they just need their guys to do well. So Murphy, he's okay. But as on the other side, Medhavapeti, I don't know who he is. This is his first game, so he's equally subject. Even though he's apparently he just retired his side, there's equal chance that he could be just as bad. So I mean, it'll be an interesting game pitching wise. We'll see what offense is able to get to who's first, and I wouldn't call this a pitching duel, but I think the Giants might be able to pull this off a little more than the Rockies. We'll see.
Yeah, the main thing I'm looking at this game that I'm paying attention to this game is what the Rockies are going to do offensively after just completely, tearing apart that the Dodgers pitching last session. I'm interested to see if they can keep that up. I think their lineup is a little bit different this time, and they're starting a couple of new people like Doyle, that guy, Patrick Doyle, and Steel Pipe Simpson. Just some new faces out there.
They've got some characters.
Yeah, they've got some fucking characters. I'll say that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Looking forward to it.
All right, major update here. Let's head back at the Target Field. We've talked way too much about this game, but this game is just going. We need to talk about it. Toronto, Minnesota. Milo Graham's at the plate here. Guess who's back again? There he is. He is going to swing on 3 straight pitches and strike out. Collins gets his second strikeout of the day. And that's going to bring up Lane Drew. Lane Drew also got a chance to get in a swing quickly here. He'll swing at the third pitch on the 1-1 count and drive it out to third base, and the third baseman tosses over to first base, and that will end the inning. However, the Blue Jays now have a 5-0 lead as Ryan Gasting will return to the mound to try to do some more damage from the mound for the Blue Jays. He tries to shut down Lewis, Marnett, and Mitchell for the Twins. All right, let's head back to the NL now, and let's discuss Padres and Diamondbacks. This is an interesting matchup out here in Chase Field in Arizona. This one's had a little bit of action so far. Caleb Athan, AJ Preller decided to give his rookie first baseman the leadoff spot in the first at-bat of the game here. He's going to fly out to begin this one out towards center. That's going to bring up Alister Executioner, who's going to draw a 4-pitch walk. Cannonball Dickerson will follow and get a single to first base, allowing the first 2 batters to be on base, first and second now. And then all of a sudden, Seth Hansen will ground into a double play, therefore ending the inning, even though they will leave 1 runner on base. That's going to bring up Kyle Grimes Jr. to the mound to pitch now and bring up the top of the Diamondbacks order, which will feature Smudge, Drexler, and Panda. What do you guys think about this matchup here in Arizona? A pretty underrated one, in my opinion.
Well, that's pod racing, let me tell you. I don't know. It's one of those games where everyone's going to be like, haha, it's the game of the tankers. Like
exactly what I was going to say.
But the Diamondbacks, I find the Diamondbacks extremely interesting because I love Doc. I think he's a very good manager. I think he's a very fluid manager. I think he's just trying his best to find something that clicks. He keeps getting new, exciting rookies in there. I know he had some rookies that did pretty well, except he also lost a rookie to retirement recently, which kind of sucked. But there's that versus the Padres, which are the Forehead Jones company. There's some guys on there. I love Nippon Steer. I think the Padres are a little bit of a better team. I think they have some names there that are able to do a little bit more damage. But I mean, Diamondbacks have Smudge. Drexler has looked very good in his first game. They have Stakes isn't playing, which could be very bad for them. I feel like Stakes is probably one of their best offensive powerhouses. But I mean, they still have Diamondbacks still have some names there. I think this is going to be typical high scoring game. I think the Diamondbacks offense is going to come through. I think the Padres offense is going to come through, and it's going to be like a 7-6, 8-6. And as far as who's going to win, I think the Padres are a little bit better. They're a little bit more complete. I think they have a little bit more of names that are able to carry a team, especially headlined by Forehead Jones, who is a monster.
Yeah, I think Jay did a really good job at covering the game part of this, the actual competitive part of this. But on another note about this game, I think something that's interesting here is the all-star implications of this game. Forehead Jones gets talked about a lot as a first baseman, as possibly the best first baseman in the league. But you do have some other people in that conversation, like DCM, Dakota, Carolina, Montana, out of Houston.
I would say he's better.
I like DCM a lot. I think DCM is really good, and these next session is gonna decide that. I guess is gonna decide who goes. So that's interesting to me is the all-star implications. I think Forehead Jones is really the only Padre that has an argument for going to the all-star game.
What about a NL catcher? Do you think Smudge is going to get that?
I think so. Okay, here's what I'll say about Smudge. Smudge is an on-base machine. Smudge has oh my god, Smudge. I think Smudge has one of the highest walk totals in the whole league. He had a game where he walked 3 times. That dude is a monster at getting on base. I like Smudge a lot. I don't know that I'd say that he's even in the catcher is a really, really good position in this league. In doing my research, I found that catchers are, for whatever reason, they're just very good offensively compared to other positions. And that might be just because we have 2 very, very good catchers. Who is it? Summers, and there's someone else. There's someone else who's just a complete
Carp.
Is he his catcher?
I think Carp is the other one. Hold on, I have
Carp.
Yeah, Barney Summers, Carp, Andropov on the Giants, Michael Voorhees. Garrett didn't do. He's been struggling. I think the past game.
He just got a nice little single there for the Pirates. He's hitting .368 at the moment.
Okay, yeah. Gare, yeah. There's a lot of catchers that have an argument for being very good. But I like Smudge a lot, just because he's an on-base fan. I would love to have him on my team. I love that guy. If for whatever, he could very well be the Diamondbacks representative, because
their former Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, exactly. Who else? Who else do they really have? I don't really think they have anyone else that.
Dom Stakes, I think, is amazing.
Oh, Stakes. Okay. Yeah.
And actually, I was going to say Charles Moore, but he's small sample size.
Yeah,
but he's 800 average.
We've had a lot of discussion about Moore on this show, and if he keeps up this pace and can get 3 at bats in each of the next 2 games, is there any chance that he makes the bench for the NL All-Star team? There's been discussion back and forth on that, and the consensus is it's just going to be too small of a sample size in the end of the day. Just simply not enough at bats, not enough experience, regardless of the good numbers. And hey, if he keeps that up, maybe he has an MVP case by the time we get to the end of the year. Or I obviously don't like to think this way for a team like Arizona, but if they really are going to try and tank and try to get some good picks for next year's entry-level draft or whatever we do for the draft next year, maybe Moore's a guy they try to flip at the deadline. Moore has potential, and Moore could definitely be a useful piece for Arizona or whatever team he's on by Session 18. Quick update here. Let's hop back over to AT&T Park, Colorado, San Francisco. Quint Kimbrel leading things off for the Giants in the bottom of the first. He's going to take the first pitch from Murphy right up the middle. A leadoff single for Kimbrel. He's on base here as Oxley is going to step up and follow things up here in the bottom of the first. All right, let's go over to our last NL home game. This is kind of an interleague game here, but we're going to put it in the NL category for the next couple of sessions. That's going to be Rangers and Expos. The big storyline here, this one hasn't officially gotten underway. Speed is at the plate getting ready to swing. We're waiting on getting that number from him. Big storyline here is Texas trying to overcome the woes they've had over many, many games now. Even though they're 3-4 on the year, just what happened with Thurston and everything last game had to have demoralized that team to its core. If you're Rabbi Chase, I'm going to ask both of you this question. If you're Rabbi Chase, what is the message you're delivering to your team right now after all they went through last session and the woes they had to suffer through, and then what Oakland did to them on the reboot? What is your message to that team if you're the GM of the Texas Rangers?
Just keep doing what you were doing before Sloppy Thurston got in there. I don't think a team has just so many names that just spike out to you. Barney Summers, G.H. Morello, Joe Trundle. Dixie Recht has some great numbers. He leads the league in walks. Texas just needs to keep doing what they're doing. I mean, they had a tough game. I don't think that makes them any less talented. I don't think that makes them any less of a great team. And they're reversing a Cy Young Award winner. I mean, it happens. If you're versing a Cy Young Award winner, you win some, you lose some. They were winning one, they were not, and then they lost one. I mean, it's just the nature of the game. I think they just need to keep doing what they were doing and do what they know how to do.
Wait, what do you mean they've been struggling? I thought they got a perfect game a little bit ago. No, I'm just kidding.
Too soon.
For the all right, the Rangers. If I were Rabbi Chase, I would say Barney Summers, you keep doing what you're doing, buddy. Joe Trundle, keep getting those hits. Who's the guy that leads the league in walks? What's his name?
Dixie Recht.
Yeah, Dixie Recht. You just keep walking, and Morello, you do it, buddy. I think they have, just like Jay said, they have a lot of names. They're not a bad team. They're not a bad team at all. You know, they're fine. I think the Rangers will be contenders. You know, throughout the season, they're not going to. You know, I don't know if it looks like they're struggling to anyone else. It doesn't look like they're struggling to me. I think they're just, you know, that's up and down, and they're in there. They're in the hunt. I don't think there's too much to worry about. You know, they had a little bit of a setback with Sloppy Thurston, but it's not too bad. They'll be fine.
And Barney Summers is the nicest guy in the entire league, so I only wish him dongs for days.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, he's a contact hitter. So.
All right. Let's hop over and let's recap a lot of these National League games we've talked about. Of course, the only one with runs on the board will be Pittsburgh-LA. Pittsburgh is up 2-0 there in the top of the first. Every other game in the NL, Milwaukee-Washington, Philadelphia-St. Louis, Colorado-San Francisco, San Diego-Arizona, and Texas-Montreal are all scoreless. Both of you, what do you believe is the most important game to watch out of the 6 we have here?
No, go ahead, Kev.
Sorry, in the 6 in the NL?
Yeah, the NL 6. So the 5 games that are NL only, and then we'll count the interleague game here as well.
You cut out a little bit, buddy.
Sorry, I was going to say the 5 NL games. So Milwaukee, Washington, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, LA, Colorado, SF, San Diego, Arizona, and then we're going to count the interleague game between Texas and Montreal in here as well.
Okay, this is cheating a little bit, I think, but I'm going to do 2 games here. Philadelphia, St. Louis has huge implications for, you know, if you believe momentum's a thing in this league, it has huge implications in that sense. If Philadelphia gets the win here, I really think they can just carry it all the way and just keep going. I think that's the break they need to just become an actual team in this league. Sorry, Jay. St. Louis is on a 5-game win streak. We'll see what they do. But I like them. I mean, I like them going forward. I don't know if they can keep up the win streak, but I think that game has huge implications in terms of momentum. And Colorado, San Francisco. I mean, I just think if San Francisco can win this game convincingly, they're just going to separate themselves from the rest of them.
What was I gonna say? I mean, I kind of like games where there's like things to prove, like things that that teams have to do to like turn their seasons around. And I think we have an interesting game in the Padres Diamondbacks in that they're just 2 teams that are just like what you said with like the Phillies and the Cardinals, how the Phillies are using that game to turn it around. I think that this game in a case is both teams having that sort of momentum. That's that sort of thing that they have to do. And I think that that game is very, if not important, very interesting. I'd also like to see what happens with the Pittsburgh game. I feel like Pittsburgh they were at the top of their game in session 6, and then session 7 they were just dealt a huge blow, and it's going to be very interesting to see if they're going to be able to come back from that blow.
What do you think about Milwaukee and Washington? I know, I think Kyle said that was one of the more interesting games for him because of that pitching matchup. What do you think about that in general in terms of like importance, you know, of like on the season for those teams?
Well, to be honest, I thought I thought Milwaukee. I thought they were doing better. They've hit a bump, haven't they?
Yeah,
I think it was you, Kevin. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think they're suffering a curse because you got traded, and man, I think that Milwaukee is in even more of just like a skid that they have to get out of, because they were just like at one point they were just a glimmer of hope. They were just a glimmer of one of the best teams in the league. I still think they have the talent, but as much as I hate Washington, I think that they have a very interesting sort of momentum that they haven't had in a while in that walk-off win against the Diamondbacks. And with Hildebrand on the mound, it's very interesting. It's just like going down versus coming up, and like, will that team going down be able to reverse and go up, or will they keep going down, and vice versa for the Nationals? I think it's important for both of them, and I think it's important for Garzone to solidify himself in that really tough that tough NL pitching market,
especially before the All-Star game.
Exactly. It's so tough to get into one of those three spots. There's already guys that are basically lock-ins. Even if they give up like 7 runs, they probably will still get a spot in there. It's just like basically we're getting like 5 or 6 pitchers from Hildebrand to Garzone to Urich to who like, there's just so many good pitchers in this league that just like they could very well get that spot. And I think that's probably the singular most interesting, suspenseful thing in this league right now. Who is going to get a spot on that NL pitching staff? But we're going to get into the AL, and I have some points to make about how the AL pitching is very underrated, because there's some great pitchers in that league too.
Yeah, I got a lot to talk about the AL. So,
all right,
Kyle,
we'll get to the AL. We'll get to the AL in a little bit. We do have some more game updates to go back to really quickly. Rockies Giants once again. Quint Kimbrel making some moves on the base paths. He is going to steal second base. Real quick before Murphy can even throw a pitch, he is safe at second. So now the runner moves over to second here for Mike Oxlittle at the plate. Quint Kimbrel with yet another steal. Also, another quick update: Pittsburgh and LA, Pirates, Dodgers. Ashton Westenberg at the plate. Obviously, a huge batting average, hitting over 600 on the year. He is going to stand there thinking that McElroy is going to start throwing some more balls. However, those balls never come, as McElroy fires 3 straight 95-mile-per-hour fastballs down the middle, and Westenberg looks at all 3. Westenberg will strike out looking, as men on second and third with 1 out here for Brady McElroy. All right, let's move over to the AL. We won't talk about Toronto and Minnesota. We've talked about that enough. Let's talk about Tampa Bay, Oakland. We hit on Oakland a little while ago, talking about their Cy Young pitcher and the Devil Rays with their really good pitcher in Ed Turner. However, neither of those guys are going to be pitching in this one. Obviously, this game is still waiting for a first pitch, so we'll keep an eye on for that. But at the same time, Willie Hoos, recently acquired from the Houston Astros, will be facing off against Jay Swizzle, the second starter for the Oakland A's, and a high offense lineup for both teams. You got big offensive contributors in the lineup for the Devil Rays and the A's. Jay, let me get your opinion first. What do you think of this matchup?
About the Willoughby Hoos trade, a friend of mine and I were talking about that, and we kind of characterized it as sort of a pity trade, just because of that clause alone. I feel like that clause where like then Willoughby Hoos goes back to the Astros if Dougie comes back. And speaking of that, I'm really sad about Dougie leaving, because I took a break from the Discord, so I figured out I was on a train ride when it happened, and I came back like hours later. That sucks. I hope he comes back someday, like, because I've talked to him multiple times. I had him on my podcast like consecutive times, because he's just such a good presence. So yeah. I love Dougie.
I think Dougie's hands down like probably one of my favorite players in the whole league.
Yeah, he's just a good guy.
Yeah, I love that dude.
As far as the game itself, Del Rey's took a big blow, but and they also have they have a lot of .000 batting averages on this team so far, because it's just a lot of new faces. So you might say that the Devil Rays, a 5-2 team, like they've got this in the bag, but it's not entirely the same team that got them to that point. There's just a lot of people here that I don't know very much that had not really contributed to that record. It'll be definitely interesting, because I love rookies, and I love seeing rookies come up from nothing and make something up themselves. And I've talked to Wiseman. I know him very well, and I definitely know Conor McGregor, because he was on my team But Wiseman's a really good guy. I enjoy talking to him. So I wish them the best. But looking over at the Athletics, there's still. I still think the Devil Rays could pull this off. It's going to be a close game, but I still think the Devil Rays are going to get this because when you look at the Athletics, their offense has struggled immensely, and you might say, well, okay, it's because of pitching. Pitching has gotten the Athletics those that luck that they've been having, but the problem is that Schwizzle is pitching, not Shark. So it's just like pitching is their strong suit, but the guy who delivers that strong suit's not here. So I think that Athletics might have a hard time solving the Devil Rays, and I think the Devil Rays are going to be able to probe them. The only thing that they have there is the fact that Schwizzle does not have a lot of innings, and thus might be harder to scout for the Devil Rays. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be more interesting. Like if you brought this game to me a few sessions ago, I would have said Tampa Bay, no doubt. Oakland's probably the worst team, but now Oakland's way better, and Devil Rays are a tad bit worse, especially with this lineup, and it might make for some interesting fake baseball.
All right, so I'm pretty much just going to reiterate what Jay said. I also love rookies. I love seeing those debuts, and I get excited when I see that .000 in that batting average column. And we have a lot of them in this game. We've got Dogman. Well, okay. Oh, sorry. Let me slow down. These are also just team debuts. After Tampa Bay traded for did that big trade for a couple of Astros players. We've got Dogman. We've got Hoos making their debuts.
I'm excited to see Hoos on the Devil Rays. I know he and Witt are big friends, so I'm glad that they are reunited.
Yeah, that's exciting. No, that's really, really exciting. I like Dogman as a player. He's not doing amazing, but I'm excited to see how he's going to do on the Devil Rays on a team that has amazing, offensive powers pretty much. And I don't know if those last three people on the lineup are rookies. Is it all of them? Or
okay, I can answer that. Johnson and Olatudun, they're both rookies. McRedger has bounced around from many teams this year. He does have another game, I believe, in the books for the Devil Rays back in Session 3 against the Indians. He just doesn't have a hit on the year. He got waived, got signed by Cleveland, he bounced around, but he is back signed with the Devil Rays, and he just doesn't have a hit on the year.
I sent that guy as soon as the Indians DFA'd that dude. I was like, I DM'd him like, hey Connor, I still think like if you still want to give fake baseball a shot, I'd love to have you back on board, and because I knew that he was like an actual presence. And I didn't think he was like truly 100% like dead. So I messaged him because I was like, oh man, I could get him back on the team, and I love this guy. And he didn't answer me. And then a few months later, he signs with the Devil Rays. So I see where his allegiances lie. Still a little annoyed by that trade. I like McGregor. He's definitely like an old school Session 1 dude. I think he joined halfway through season one. So he's been around for a while. I know Olatudun. He had a backstory. He was like a 7'8" African man.
Yeah, he's a big African dude for sure.
Yeah, but Wiseman, I know he's a rookie. I don't know if this is his first game. I don't think this is his first game.
Wiseman played last game, and we talked. I think he does have did get some at bats in that Seattle game as well. He just didn't get a hit yet.
The Seattle game. Oh, okay. So. There's a lot of guys here that are not like the primary in the Devil Rays offensive. So I think that the Athletics could capitalize off of that. Schwizzle, I need to see more from him. I didn't think he was like a real person, to be honest. I thought he left this game long ago. I was surprised. He was on that roster from like halfway through season 1 and didn't pitch a single inning. And then he comes up suddenly and he's pitching actively. And I mean, good for him. I'm happy with stories like that. I think the Diamondbacks have a guy like that who was on the free agent list for like at least 3 months, and then he got signed finally. The back end of the Athletics lineup is really bad. Max Watson is historically. I can shit talk Max as good friends. He and I moderate the Philly subreddit together.
Don't talk about Prius though.
Dude, he gets really angry about that. I stopped after that. He legitimately was like, I hate Priuses. I was like, I'm sorry. Max, he's gotten a terrible start. Van Vactor, I think he had a double, but he had a terrible start. The back end's really bad there, but hitters like Dingers and Notcher, who sounds like he should be on a sex offenders. And I think Jonesy made that name, so I don't blame Notcher. I blame the Jonesy.
I don't know. Jonesy has some pretty good names because he also came up with Trey Uzumaki, whatever the fuck his name is.
I don't blame him because I was along with that. Like when we were trying to give names to everybody who didn't submit names.
Yeah.
We tried to do the most similar to their username as possible. So like we didn't want to like make anything random. So like not your child, he took not your, made it Notcher, then child, he changed the kid, flipped it around. Bam, Kid Notcher. I appreciate the effort. He still sounds like a pedophile, but that's just me.
Okay, so I wanted to say some stuff about this game. Yeah, we were talking about how many rookies and how many debuts for at least a team there are in this game on the Devil Rays side. I think they have a lot of people with something to prove. Wiseman, I know, is like, pretty or like sort of active. I've seen him talk a bit. He still has no hits on the season, so he's gonna, he's got to prove that. We have Baseball-y and Reynolds and Trapper right there in the middle. The old solid guys, which I'm sure they'll be fine because of that and because of Dom right after them. But, you have Dogman after that. You have Johnson. You have the big black dude, McRedger. And then who's starting? They have so many people with things to prove. I don't know. I think the Devil Rays come into this game just hungry, super hungry. And they're a team that's well known for being very good offensively. I like them in this game. I think they look very, very good in this game. They have, again, those three people in a row that are just monsters: Reynolds, McBaseballface, and Trapper. I don't know. I can't doubt them now. They're just they look really good on the hitting side, even with all those debuts. And then they're hitting against a pitcher that's completely like irrelevant right now for the A's, which I don't really get why they're doing that. Sal Shark I think he's been very, very solid for not having any run support pretty much.
Well, it's hard to get a guy who now he's active and then be like, well, I'm going to shove you into the roster again for 5 more months.
What do you mean?
Schwizzle.
Yeah, well, Schwizzle's
like,
going to play
you
for 4
realize
sessions.
that he's active, that he wants to pitch, and then you just go like, yeah, but like, I think that was just out of like the assumption that he didn't exist. And then once they figured out he existed and he actually was like good to pitch, I think it would be kind of mean to just be like, okay, back into the cellar you go for 4 months while we start.
Bring him in to relieve. I don't know. Shark is true. Shark is I like Shark a lot. Maybe it's just me.
I think Shark has enough innings pitched that he could kind of like rest for a little bit, maybe try to let his current numbers speak for his All-Star game berth.
Okay, all right, that's fair. I think that makes sense.
I do agree with Kevin in some respects, though, that Shark does tend to fade near the end of games is when he really starts to lose stuff when it comes to pitching for the A's. I mean, look at, even in his dominant games, look at what he did last game against Texas. He was striking out guy after guy, and then once he got to the 4th inning, everything's kind of started to, obviously he was still pitching great and continued the complete game shutout, but he allowed a hit or two, and then some more guys were getting on. He let out some walks. The Ks weren't really coming in. He was kind of fading. It wasn't really the Sal Shark that he was in the first 3 innings. So I do think relief wouldn't be the worst idea in the world as a role for Jay Schwizzle. But I guess we'll have to see what Rick Gibbons decides to do. Let's hop back over to Target Field once more. We have an update as Lefty Lewis is at the plate. He is going to be the first base runner of the day for the Minnesota Twins, as he will take a 4-pitch walk to lead off the bottom of the 2nd for Minnesota. All right, moving forward. Let's talk about, let's do this one next. Red Sox and Tigers. This is a very, very interesting game for a couple of reasons. Tigers really need to get a kickstart. They're 2-5. They need a win. And who better than to dethrone the red-hot Red Sox who have won 3 in a row? And what a better opportunity to defeat the Red Sox when the bulk of their good players are out playing an eco this session. What do y'all think of this one?
You know who is playing? Who's playing in Boston right now is probably the only trade that I've made that I'll 100% say was a loss.
McCluster?
That's Mr. Chuck McCluster, who I'm going to be making up the player of the game, the player of the game results or the voting ballot after this podcast because the last game just came in. McCluster could be a play session for session 7, which sucks because I traded him in a joke trade, and that was just like I traded him in a pity trade. I was like, oh man, Boston's has some troubles. Their dipshit GM just turned out to be making 15 alts at a time. He was fired. Like I felt really bad for them, and then they had to lose one of their most active players because he became GM. So I was like, I'm just gonna give him the guy that I haven't been using very much that I don't know what to do with. I'll just throw him a cluster, whatever. He's not on the Discord anyway. He's probably not going to be active. And sure enough, the cluster comes onto the Discord. He's a cool dude, and he's just raking in his game. And I didn't mean to completely go off on that, but it's just a pain in the ass. But they lost some players, but what they have is McCluster and Voorhees. And I don't know how good Voorhees has been with the Red Sox, but I know he still has incredible numbers. And I mean I think that Boston has been winning trades left and right. I think they've been doing so good in trades, and I think it's just shown in their record so far. And I mean, I think that the Diamondbacks are going to get extremely shafted in this Stifle trade because he ended up doing pretty okay for them. The game after he got pulled against
those auto case.
Yeah, he ended up doing pretty decently. So it's not entirely.
Wait, hold on. Before you go into that, I wanted to talking about this. I think this goes into.
He came out of the pen and got lit up against who were they playing last session? What am I saying? Didn't he get walked off?
The Diamondbacks, I don't know.
Yeah, they played Washington. Yeah, Washington walked him off.
Oh yeah, that was the game they won.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to, going off of what Kyle said, Jay, I wanted to ask you a couple of things about this specifically since we were talking about this and you were about to go into it, I think. Boston, that Stifle trade, right? I've asked you about this before on Make a Case, and we talked about it, and I don't know if it was your actual opinion or if you were just arguing it, but the Voorhees trade, that was the Stifle trade, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about that, because you were very against that.
I was.
Or, sorry,
yes.
I think you said that basically whoever got Voorhees lost that, which I don't know if he had looked at his stats at that point, but that dude is that dude's pretty good. I like Voorhees a lot.
Hold on, Kev. Before Jay answers this, let me offer Jay's counterpoint that he's going to throw at you right now before he does. As a Red Sox player, let me throw this out there. Voorhees has a grand total of X amount of hits as a Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, I knew that.
You want to know what
that?
X
So that's
equals?
why I added the.
What is X
I added
equal,
the zero.
Zero.
I that's why I added the asterisk. At least his stats still show that he's because his stats are still pretty good. I thought.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, that was the first part. I wanted to give you a second one just so you could.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I know. Yeah.
Peppers, 3 wins in a row. This game looks good for them. I think personally, could very well be 4 in a row. Even if they don't win this game, they've made a bunch of trades, flipped a bunch of players. They've come back very, convincingly from that whole Big E situation. What do you think about Peppers for GM of the year?
If the Boston Red Sox end up being a playoff team, I don't care if they go to the Paper Cup. I don't care if they win it. If the Boston Red Sox end up becoming a playoff team, then I don't know. Fuck the ghost of Zumboner. Fuck Whip Bass. Fuck who else is there? Charlie Scott, of course. Charlie Scott. If he's able to turn that team around to such a degree, then I'm voting for him ALGM of the year right here, right now. I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna keep my word. I'm gonna vote for him if they get to playoffs. I truly believe that's a feat. If you can win so many trades and just like that team has gotten revived twice. That team has gotten revived twice, and the first time it seemed dismal. But then Peppers was like, "Nah, dude, hold my beer," and he just fucking completely refaced that team yet again. He got a guy who got let me tell you, he got a guy who got a no-hitter in his first in like his first game as a Red Sox. And you know what he did? He fucking traded that bitch. And I think he might have won that trade. I respect the Diamondbacks for pulling that. I still think the Diamondbacks didn't trade, but I think he did very well in that trade. He got MB. I'm pretty sure he's been doing pretty well, right, Kyle?
He had a home run. He had a home run in his first game. He went to Echo last session, and now he's back in the lineup.
Yes, I mean, Kev's left. Okay, no, there he is. But like I think the Red Sox they're just a testament to it's early in the season. They're a testament to the quote, it's early in the season, and they were just able to turn on a dime, and they're just basically for a team like mine who is struggling, they're a beacon of hope that just suddenly, bam, you can put up 12 runs on just team after team all of a sudden out of nowhere and just be suddenly like one of the most productive teams in the league. So I respect Peppers, and I doubted him, and I was a fool. I was a gosh dang fool because I think that he's a great GM.
Before we continue on with a couple other AL games, since we can talk for hours and hours upon Boston, believe me, I know. Let me just go through here and actually recap the game so far, because I never actually got to do it. Larry Longshot led off the game for the Red Sox, still has no hits on the year, looking for his first hit, and he will fly out the straightaway center to Savag Vapor to begin the top of the first. Then everyone's favorite new guy, Chuck McCluster, steps up, and he hits a ground out down the third base line. That would be the second out of the inning. And then Gregory Polinko, another piece acquired in that Tampa Bay trade back in session 3. He will strike out. Nothing doing for Boston in the half inning, and we're going to the bottom of the first at the moment, where Josh Medor will take to the mound in hopes of striking out or getting 3 quick outs out of Spurs, Jacker, and Phoenix. Let's go to our other AL game in progress. There's one other AL game that's not in progress at the moment that we'll get to in a few minutes. But Indians and Orioles. One of the bigger topics here that we talked about on the podcast last night was going to be, what's the pace of play going to be like in this game? You've got a very questionable Baltimore team against a very, very fast Indians team. Well, it's been going pretty fast so far. Top of the first, Austin Schwartz making his MLR debut. He'll hit a line drive single out to center field. He'll be aboard with his first hit of the year and of his career. Following that, Shohei Ohtani, who's 1 for 2 on the year as a MLR hitter, he will smack one out to deep center as well. He will be on with a single, giving them 2 base runners. Then Jim Boeheim, who has not really had a good batting average all year, but he has been consistently in that Cleveland lineup every game. He will step up and swing here, and he will pop it up out to deep left field. Ohtani and Schwartz will stay, which brings up Stig Bond, who will also pop one out to deep right field this time. For a flyout, nobody will move. So 2 men on, first and second, and 2 outs here for Mr. Richard Pohl, who is still looking for his first hit of the year for the Cleveland Indians. That is where we stand here at Camden Yards. Charlie Yeager, interesting piece, acquired from the Diamondbacks this session for future considerations. He got the start for the Orioles, as it appears maybe Dom Duncat has moved Chipper Dipper permanently to the designated hitter role for the second straight game. Dipper is DHing for the Orioles. What do y'all think about this game, what we've seen so far, and the interesting lineups been made by both BB Bandimino Jr. and Dom Duncat?
Can I start off this game instead talking about there's a bot that's pervaded Reddit recently that basically what it does is if you put a number and an exclamation point, it's like, you made a factorial. It's everywhere. It was on the fake racing one I saw, and that's just a pain in the ass. I hate bots. I'm gonna ban that. I'm gonna ban that thing right away. I saw somebody upvoted it. Don't upvote that thing. It just encourages it.
Oh god,
it becomes more sentient. Orioles started off very well because Nikki Falk just took the show in session 1. Yeah, she's fantastic. She was a steal. But other than that, Petrol's been doing okay. They have some good names, and they've also made some very key, interesting free agent signings finally, because I know Dom was having trouble with that, but he came out and he finally made some free agent signings. I think Dom's has built a pretty good team, but it just took him a while, because I think one of the main things that he did wrong was that he got like a compensation pick at the beginning of this season, the first thing he did wrong, he got a compensation pick for the draft and for Dick Shot, I think. And instead of sort of mapping out who might be best for that pick, I know he before even the draft class was forming, he was like, I'm gonna pick my friend, and it hasn't really worked out for him, and it's become kind of an underwhelming pick. And I feel like he should have picked. Think of all the names that went after that pick in round 1. There's so many good names that he could have added to that team to boost their production, boost their image, and he definitely made up for it for drafting Falk. But I just think, I don't know, you could have 2 very good draft picks. But I mean, retrospect is 2020, whatever. As far as the game goes, I don't know. I think the Orioles have started to build a pretty decent team there, or at least a pretty interesting team. I want to see how Fully Loaded works out. He's been active on the Discord. Versus the Indians, who have they've done this weird mid-season rebuild. It's just the season hasn't even ended, and they're already blowing up the roster and bringing in rookies. So it's just a very rookie, a new rookie-centric game mixed in with some old faces like Whit Muerto. It's interesting to see what Jaeger does. Tuna, I don't know. I guess he's been having troubles because that R6 is not that good. I want to see what Jaeger does because the Diamondbacks always end up getting the short end of the stick in their trades. So knowing how that's happened in the past, I fully expect Jaeger to become an all-star in his first game. He's going to beat out all the AL pitchers just to spite Arizona. No, but really, I think I don't know. I don't know much about Jaeger. I know a lot about Tuna. Tuna, he was the best pitcher for 2 sessions in season 1, and then it kind of unraveled because the Phillies just absolutely decimated him and ruined his career. I fully that story. Yeah, dude. As soon as the Phillies walked him off, he wasn't the same since. I fully believe.
Do you think it's a mental thing?
I fully believe it's the Phillies curse.
Every time he throws out a pitch, he just thinks of that.
Kyle Mack's face just stains the backs of his eyelids as he sleeps.
That's depressing. Okay, well, I agree with a lot of what Jay said this game. I think the main thing to look at in this game is all of the debuts. I mean, they're not really a team, or for the Orioles at least, they have a lot of debuts here, and they're not really a team that had any retirements or people leaving or anything like that. So it's a little surprising how many debuts they have. They have Charlie Jaeger, starting, which is, a trade that they made. They have Chipper Dipper playing DH. I don't know much about that, but that's happening, I guess. They have Monster Mash Jr., aka Hans Gruber, who is not 0 of 10 on the season. And then Romero and Fully Loaded to round out the hitting orders. So I don't know. I think they're a little bit unbalanced on their lineup. They have a couple of really good people at the beginning, and then at the end they're just rookies and Chipper Dipper and Goober. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes for them. I don't know. I like the Orioles here. I like their pitching, and I think Jaeger is probably going to do very well just because the Orioles pitching ends up being very good. Regardless of who's pitching. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Let's hop over.
Jay. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump over and do one other quick game because we've killed so much time talking about the AL, man. You could go for hours talking about them. One game that hasn't started yet, Mariners and Astros. Still waiting on the Mariners lineup. No idea when that's going to come, if ever. But Mariners and Astros set the face off. I believe what we do know is that it'll be a pitching matchup between Frankie Sticky Fingers and electric strikeout pitcher Con Copper. Despite his ridiculously high ERA, he has an absurd K per 6. Let me pull up those numbers right now if I can. It is literally absurd. Here we go. A 5.89 ERA, and yet he strikes out 8.51 batters per game. It's just ridiculous what Con Copper does on the mound. It's not even fathomable. Even Garrett Evans, who has one of the more polarizing stat lines for a pitcher in the entire Major League Baseball, just simply can't match what Con Copper has done in Houston. And now he's the ace in Houston. Puts him in an interesting spot. Jay, Kev, what do y'all think about this matchup and what to expect from these two teams here?
Well, Kyle, I want to ask you something. Is copper conductive? Because if so, then yes, he's definitely electric. I feel like I try to pull that one off slyly.
Shut up.
I like Houston. I
like you too, buddy.
I feel like Kevin should have waited around for me to come out of class so I could have made an offer for him. But yeah, Dakota, Carolina, Montana. He's fantastic. Houston had a lot of trouble their first season, but I think what they did really well there, I'm going to go back to the draft, is that with the draft, a lot of the pitching was so up in the air. It there's way more batters that were active and enthusiastic than there were pitchers in pre-draft. So I think it was a big crapshoot, and I think the Astros did a really good job at picking Khan in in compensation rounds. I think after the first round, he did. I mean, I think they did a really good job. I credit Wilbur for that. Khan's a very, very good pitcher so far as strikeouts go. His ERA sucks, but it's okay. it's okay. I think that strikeout rate's pretty good. I think he can use that to his advantage. Maybe work some stuff out. I don't think he's an ace so far, and I think just like I want to see how that ball four guy does, because I don't know. I feel like when it comes to guys like Dakota, who are very good at hitting, Riles McGiles, who's I think he's been a player of the session of the game twice. I know he's been a player of a session, so he's pretty solid. He has a 4.62 average. Yeah, I think it's all about pitching. Houston's been trying to find pitching for a while. They've been trying to fill that hole for Bass. I don't know if trading Willoughby helped that. I guess they believe in Copper enough, and props to them because he has an ungodly K/6. Just has to fix that ERA. He obviously has the stuff if he's able to produce that many strikeouts. So it'll just be interesting to follow his career.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about my own team without. I don't really talk to my GM about stuff like this, so this is me speculating, right?
He's going to DFA you.
Yeah, fuck it.
It feels weird to hear Kev saying, like, this is my team when it comes to the Astros. Like, anybody else just, like, squirming in their seat and be like, huh?
Right? To be, like, talking about my own team and have it not be the Brewers.
I still think you guys are a Brewer.
Yeah, I'm a Brewer at heart. And Houston Astro in my head. All right, anyway, I don't know. I like and I'm part of this, so this is going to be a little bit biased, but I like our 2 to 8. I like, or I don't know if you guys have the lineup. Did you guys see that or no? The preliminary lineup?
I have not. None of us have seen the lineup because Wilbert won't put it for Fog of War reasons, and then there is no Seattle lineup.
Okay, well, this is preliminary, but we have some people like McGiles, Riles, DCM, Arianna, Cheeks, Uzumaki, like all those are in a row. I think that's going to be Halliday. Halliday's in there too. I think that's going to be the main portion of our lineup that we expect to like do well. We have Bon Giovanni has been struggling a little bit, and Bear Thomas is fairly new. Shiny Tenson, we literally just traded for him, so we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how that all that other stuff goes, but I think if that part of our lineup can do okay, at least we'll be all right. We have a lot of pitchers that we can sub in, and if someone's not doing well, if Copper's not getting those strikeouts, we can sub him out, and we can work with it. I think that's part of our strategy is like having a bunch of pitchers that we can be unpredictable with. And I literally have not talked to Wood about this, so I have no idea. But I feel like him shipping off Hoos, whether Jay thinks it's a pity trade or not, I don't think it was a bad idea because that dude has a lot of like scouting. That dude has a lot of innings, season 1, season 2. So it's I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a disadvantage, but we'll see. We'll see how the game goes. The game thread's not even up yet, so I don't know.
All right.
Seattle's been known to run away with the score, so we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Thank you for that information, Cav. One quick note before we move on to our next segment. Quick double play out there at Target Field. Jack Burnett grounds into a double play to get Lewis and himself out. That'll bring up C.W. Mitchell with 2 outs and nobody on. as the one base runner hope for Minnesota is now gone. So we've got a game for you folks tonight that Jay and Kev have agreed to play here with all the news surrounding good old Texas, the Texas Rangers. Let's play a little game that surrounds the state of Texas and what they have going on. We're going to call this MLR Texas Hold'em. So here's how this is going to go. I'm going to start with Jay first, and then we'll go to Kev. We'll take it one by one, each of them. I have a deck of 10 cards here in my hand, in my invisible hand here. And on each card is a player currently in the MLR. Each of our contestants here, Jay and Kev, will be tasked with taking a card for my deck, and I'll give them the first card, and they will look at it, and they will decide whether or not they want to give it away, discard it, or they want to keep it. Now, each of them can keep up to 3 cards, and then at the end, we will see what the cards look like. But if they give up a card, the next card they must take. So let's dive into it. Jay, you ready?
Yeah, sure. Let's do this.
All right. So here's the first card for you, Mr. J Bird. That's Andrew Peters, starter for the San Francisco Giants. 2.47 ERA, 26 and 2/3 innings pitched, 26 strikeouts, 28.5 K per 6, 1.09 WHIP. Are you going to take the card?
I have to do this. I'm taking it.
You're going to take it. All right. So Peters will be one of
I'm taking him.
Jay's cards in his deck. All right, Kev, you ready for your option?
Say that again.
Kev, are you ready for your option here?
I'm ready.
All right. Your choice, here's the next card in the deck. Johnny Hopkins, third baseman for the Minnesota Twins, a 5.56 batting average coming into session 8, 600 OBP, 3 doubles, 3 RBIs, and 833 slugging percentage. Or are you going to keep your card, or are you going to try and hope for something a little better?
Johnny Hopkins. I can't pass on that.
All right, you will take Hopkins. So let's see what you missed out on, but what Jay will have the opportunity to take, and that is outfielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Ashton Westenberg. Of course, that batting average just dropped a little bit with the recent strikeout, but going into that, he was hitting .615, home run and double. Are you going to take him?
Is this my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn, Jay.
Could you repeat the player? You kind of died there.
Ashton Westenberg, outfielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates, a .615 batting average, although that number just dropped with the recent strikeout in the Pittsburgh-LA game.
This is hard. He's good. He's not fantastic. I'm actually going to pass. I think that I could find somebody better in the next card. I'm going to pass.
Johnny.
You ready to see what you're going to be stuck with? All right, let's take a look.
I'm ready, Kyle. Let's do this.
All right, you're going to be stuck with Ryan Gasting, so I think it's pretty well worth it. A 2.20 ERA, a 4.78 K per 6, a 1.10 WHIP.
Wait, I have 2 pitchers now?
Yep.
Wait, Kyle, we didn't hear the name.
Ryan Gasting.
I love Gasting, but I've only pitchers.
All right, Kev, let's draw another card for you. Let's see what you think about Valentino Sanchez. 500 batting average, 533 on base, 1.500 slugging percentage, mainly because of his 4 home runs and 2 doubles, 10 RBIs in the year. Are you going to keep Sanchez?
Hold on. Oh, Sanchez. Okay. How many plate appearances does he have, Kyle? That's the thing too.
A lot, if I remember correctly. He's been the core of that Dodgers team. Let me get that number exactly correct for you. He's has 15 plate appearances.
Okay, yeah. Give me Sanchez.
You'll keep Sanchez?
Keep Sanchez.
Oh no, stink bug.
Yeah.
All right. So just to recap so far,
stink bug flying around.
Bird has Peters and Gasting, and Arianna has Hopkins and Sanchez on his team. You ready to see what you missed out on, Kev? You ready?
Update. Sorry, I had a stink bug and I just flipped my sprayed my canned air can upside down and froze that motherfucker.
Oh, so. Beautiful.
Sorry about that.
Beautiful. All right. Let's see what Kev missed out on, and Jay's opportunity to take us his third player. It'll be Kid Notcher for the Oakland A's. 500 batting average, 500 on base, 750 slugging, 4 doubles, 4 RBIs. So now, Jay, this card goes to you. Would you like to take Kid Notcher, or would you like to be stuck with the next card as your final player?
I'm passing him. I don't want to be on a list.
Oh my god.
Oh, you think that's great, Kev? Wait till you see what Kevin's gonna be. Wait till you see what Jay's gonna be stuck with. You ready to see what you're stuck with, Jay?
Considering
No
you're
joke.
using the language "stuck with," I am writhing with anticipation. Let's go.
No joke. I kid you not. This is the next card I had in the deck. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay's third
I kid you
card,
not.
Mr. Hudson
Funny
Quinn.
streaker. Oh, I love that.
With a 4.23 ERA, 11 innings pitched, a 5.29 K per 6, 1.33 WHIP, 10 strikeouts in the year, 3 pitchers for Mr. Jay Bird.
That's an accomplishment.
All right.
Let me get another good hitter.
Good job. All right. Let's see what Kev may be getting for his third player here, if you want it or not. Con Copper. 5.89 ERA, 18 and a third innings pitched, 26 Ks. Do you want to keep Copper in his ridiculous K per 6, or would you like to trade it for something maybe better?
All right. This is what I'll say. Jay has 3 pitchers. I have 2 amazing hitters. I need a pitcher. I'm going to take Copper, my teammate. Right? Yeah. Let's go.
Right. All right. So you both have your 3 players. Just to recap, Jay has Peters, Gasting, and Quinn. Kevin has Johnny Hopkins, Valentino Sanchez, and Copper. You ready to see the 2 players that we have not drawn yet that you guys both missed out on? Let's take a look.
Let's do it.
All right. The first player you missed, the number 9 card in the deck, Forehead Jones. 500 batting average, 4 home runs, 6 RBIs, 1.357 slugging percentage. Huge impact player for Forehead Jones.
He's okay.
And the next player, a very much a hot topic in the MLR, not because of his skill. Nobody debates that he's good, but the question is he good enough? Baseball Baseball Face was in the 10th card in the deck. 3 home runs in the year, 1188 slugging percentage, 500 batting average, 529 on base, 6 RBIs on the year for Mr. McBaseball Face. All right, we're going to analyze your teams in a second, but just curious, now that we have McBaseball Face's card in my hand, and he belongs to neither of you, had you had the opportunity to take McBaseball Face, considering the 3 you had taken, I'm not going to offer you the actual chance to actually swap. Would you swap McBaseball Face for any one of your players?
Hudson Quinn.
Valentino.
You would?
Valentino?
Yep.
I've argued that Valentino is better than Forehead, but go ahead if you want to lose.
What? Baseball. We're talking about baseball,
not Forehead.
Or Forehead.
Yeah. Oh.
Or Forehead. Yeah.
I'm talking about baseball, not Forehead.
Yeah, I would trade my whole team for Forehead, but yeah, no, baseball's decent.
Yeah, you don't want to trade Valentino for
I would.
baseball.
Yep, I would.
You what?
Against your pitchers? Yeah, I would.
Valentino is a better hitter than baseball.
Valentino has a personality. Sorry.
Valentino has a DPA of 166
okay,
in 18 plate appearances.
Okay, but does he scream baseball every time he gets a hit?
Oh my god, I fucking hate you.
Nope.
Why did I agree to come on here with you?
You love me.
All right.
This is some bullshit.
Okay, Jay.
All right, Kyle.
Let's actually dive. Okay.
Hold on.
Oh.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Who do you think has a better team? You personally.
Okay, so this is actually tougher. I'm actually going to be smart about this because Jay has 2 incredible pitchers in Peters and Gasting, and then he has a pitcher who has been put in a new round. Okay, I don't think anybody could come on here, I mean Jay will because he's his GM, and say that Hudson Quitcher is a top 5 pitcher in the MLR or something crazy like that. Pi is going to tell you that he's a top 5 pitcher in the MLR. However, Pi, we know you're wrong. I love you, Pi, but you're wrong. Anyways, so what I do like about Pi right now is that he's in a new role. He's going into that Dougie McElroy relief role that we saw Dougie have a ton of success in Tampa, and now Hudson Quinn is starting to figure it out for the Phillies. So getting Quinn into that relief role could be really, really helpful for the Phillies, especially if they're flipping back and forth between Urich and you for the starting job. So moving Hudson Quinn to this relief role is really going to help the Phillies, in my opinion, start to win more games. Now, the only issue, of course, for Philadelphia will be getting that run support. But I think Hudson Quinn's a very, very key asset. So I do like Jay's team a lot. However, I will say that Hopkins, Sanchez, and Con Copper as a trio, even though Con Copper's ERA isn't the finest, I think the run support you get from guys like Hopkins and Sanchez is just too much So I would say Kev wins, but probably not by the wide margin that both of you are perceiving at the moment. Okay,
Jay?
how about this?
Kev's
Okay,
a punk ass bitch. That's what I have to say.
JD?
I was going to say, Jay, how about Jay, analyze your team for me in your opinion. The three guys, Peters, Gasting, and Quinn. What do you like about your three guys?
Gasting is Con Copper if Con Copper didn't give up runs.
What the
Peters, he gives Darth Vader a run for his money, and Darth Vader is a god. And Hudson Quinn, he's our personality guy. I mean, he's there to clown around. He's there to have the pies. He's here to have the pies that when the walk-offs happen, he can throw pies in people's faces. He's the comic relief. So we have the starter who's one of the best in the game. We have the reliever who's a strikeout machine, and then we have Pie who's just there as the moral support, as the morale, who can also pitch, I guess.
All right, Kev, what do you like about your team?
Everything. I mean, we have Hopkins, who is an amazing hitter. He's got the personality. He's got the hitting. He's the full package. We have Valentino, who has a hitting. He's lacking a little bit on the personality side, but I think he could two off of your pitchers, all of them. And Con Copper, just he's a strikeout machine. He gives up runs, but I mean, who cares if you have Hopkins and Valentino? I mean, do you care about giving up runs?
You should take Valentino off his team because he was about to trade that for Baseball-y McBaseballface just because he yells.
No,
baseball.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's go, Baseball-y. That's my argument stands. Also take it.
Alrighty. Okay. So we do not have any game updates at the moment for any games right now, so let's move into another quick segment. Let's take a look at some fan mail. Some great questions submitted by you, the users, this week, so thank you for doing that. George Ewell of the St. Louis Cardinals chimes in with this question. Do you think that there are any teams that have a record which far exceeds their actual ability? Jay, let's start with you on that question. Is there a team that you believe has a record that's really inflated at the moment that really doesn't reflect who they actually are as a team?
All right, I got that one. A team that's record is inflated. Can it be like deflated?
I guess you can do that too. In other words, the question is.
No, that's not the question, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. I got. The Montreal Expos. Their DPA is not fantastic. Their pitching leaves more to be desired. Memes aside. And their hitting leaves more to be desired, and they're they've just been like getting rookies and losing rookies and getting rookies. They've had a terrible free agent experience. I know their GM's a swell dude, and I wish him the best. But like when you look at the troubles, they've had Red Soxian levels of troubles, and it's really surprising to see them at 5-2. I would have thought they'd have a worse record. But yeah, I think if you had to pick one, Expos are probably worse than the record shows.
This is hard to not give the same answer. I'm gonna piggyback Jay and say the Expos for sure is the number one answer.
Boo.
Number two, I'll give my own answer. This is gonna be a little bit controversial, I think, with the Blue Jays. I think aside from the Expos, they don't have anything to they don't really have anything to give. The Twins have a good pitcher in Burr, and they have a good amount of hitters. And I'm talking about all the 5-2 teams, by the way. So Twins, Tim Burr, and a couple of good hitters. The Devil Rays are amazing. The Giants are the best team in the league. The Cardinals have that win streak, and they're a team. Together they're a team, and the Expos Jay covered. But the only one left is the Blue Jays, and I think they're just, I don't know, they're riding it. They're riding their wins. Their pitching is, Jay said Gasting was underrated, I agree with, but Sardinka isn't as good as, everyone thinks.
I don't think it is. I don't think there's many Sardinka raves out there.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But even then, he's overrated, honestly, which is bad, I think. I don't know. And their third pitcher, who the fuck is he? Honestly, nobody knows who he is. So I don't know. They're just their pitching isn't as good as they think. Their hitting is okay, but it could be better for a 5-2 team. I don't know. I think we'll see them regress for sure, though.
All right, good answers, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, good answers,
Wait,
gentlemen.
Kyle. Yeah. We need your answer, buddy.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about this earlier today because I legitimately don't have a great answer for this question either. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to piggyback and just say the Expos. I mean, because I think the Jays are the prime team in the AL right now. I think the Twins are just as good. I think the AL is just really, really that strong. Actually, I'm gonna jump on and say the Giants as well. I mean, Peters is a beast, and I think Kimbrel is amazing. I think Bernie is one of the more underrated players right now. But I just don't think the rest of that lineup is really producing as much as Jonathan Park has hoped they would. I mean, they're 5-2, and they're obviously winning games, and you got Andropov hitting well. I think the 2-0 acquisition will be great in the long run, but I just don't think it's great right now, and I don't think it's going to help them win immediately. I think Sourdough is going to regress. I don't think Bain can keep up what he's doing. I just don't know if the pitching depth is there. I don't think the Giants are really a 5-2 team. I think they can still get the 6-2 this week with a win over Colorado, but I don't think that definitely will not reflect the team that they are comparative to the rest of the NL West, in my opinion. Is that fair?
That's super interesting because Kev said that he thought that the Giants were the best team in the league, and you say that they're overrated.
I wanted
Make a case, San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, hold on, Kyle. I want to talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what you're saying. So do you think like if they win this, it doesn't mean like they're not going to go off after winning this game? Like, do you think they're just?
I mean, first, they do have
the best team in the league.
Who is the best team in the league? The Cardinals, no question. I mean, are we kidding? Won 5 straight games in their lineup, and they have the most balanced lineup of any team in the league. They have 2 pitchers that are essentially equal, and the only issue on that team is they didn't have pitching depth, and now they have it with VR Porn. I mean, they could have had Dilly, but we saw what happened there. Now they have a third pitcher. And now they have an incredibly balanced lineup. Yes, I know Nine Fingers is technically kind of the best player average-wise. I know George Yule's the leader in that team. But other than that, literally that team is so balanced and everything else. Everybody is hitting pretty decent in that 300, high 200 range. And everybody's hitting well, and that's why they're winning. It's not just one guy producing everything like we've seen with a lot of teams. It's everybody stepping up and doing what they need to do. Also, San Francisco doesn't have the easiest schedule coming up. I know they have LA before the break, so that won't be too easy. But then they session 10 they host San Francisco, then they host St. Louis, then they got to go to Tampa Bay, and then after that they got to go to Boston, and then after that they host the Padres. So between sessions 10 and through 13, and LA won't be a snooze for them either in a rivalry matchup. So really sessions 9 through 13, I know the All-Star break's moving in there, but San Francisco is going to have really 5 straight very difficult matchups for them to win. So I don't think they're going to be able to make it through that stretch very well alive. And I think teams like the Cardinals and the Blue Jays and the Twins and the Devil Rays are really shining through during that stretch. Fair?
Yeah, that was fair.
Okay. So let's move on to our next fan mail question. This one comes from Robin Reynolds out of Tampa Bay. Thank you, Robin, for submitting your question. He says, quote, who won the Hoos Peppershine trade, Tampa or Houston? So, Kev, we'll start with you since you are the Houston Astro here. Do you believe that your team won the trade here, or do you believe that Tampa Bay kind of got a steal with Willoughby Hoos? You there, Kev?
Kevin?
Here, Jay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. What's up?
Oh, sorry. Who do you think won the trade?
I hate to say this. I think Tampa Bay won the trade. I didn't really think about it in a negative light until Jay said that it was a pity trade, but I guess I sort of agree. That trade does not really happen unless Dougie retires. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I think Tampa Bay won it. I don't think the other people that got traded, like Dogman and whoever we got, are like super a big like weight on the trade. The big trade was like Hoops, Peckershine. But Houston will find a way to make the trade work. Houston will come out ahead eventually, but I think just surface wise, Tampa Bay probably won it.
Okay, so I'll answer this question. I like Peckershine. I was talking to a friend about this trade. I really like Peckershine. He's just coming off of a player of the session win in the AL. I think he has a lot of talent. I think he's a very good hitter. I think that people underestimate him, and I've seen him around the Discord, so he's a pretty stable Discord presence. I guess Kevin knows more about that because he's actually on the team, but I'm pretty sure he's a person. And I don't know. I agree with Kev. I think that who's to Tampa. I think Tampa gains a lot more than Houston does here. I think Tampa does what they needed. They did what they needed to. They didn't just do what they needed to. They did what they needed to and then got more because Willoughby is such a presence. And so I don't know. I think Witt did very well in this trade. And I think I would have to say Tampa Bay won this, but I don't think that Houston bombed this trade because I really like Peckershine, and I know they're trying to reshape their lineup a little bit. They're trying to give those new pitchers a little more of a chance to go out there and show themselves. But I just think that the pitching hasn't been there for them when it comes to those new pitchers. The Ks have definitely been there. Pitching hasn't been there entirely for them. And I don't know. I feel like trading Willoughby might not help them as much, even if they get the previous AL player of the session.
I guess I'll put my input here for this one. I'm going to say that here. Let me answer it this way. Tampa Bay wins this trade right now. I think in the immediate, within this session and the next one, I think Hoos and Dogman are going to give the Tampa Bay Devil Rays the immediate impact that everybody expects. I think by the end of the year, I think we will all unanimously agree that Houston probably won the trade. I think Peckershine is an untapped talent. I think we all can agree that he is great, but just the reason why he's not at the forefront of people's minds is simply sample size and the Tampa Bay outfield logjam they have there with guys like Baseball Face and Trapper moving out to the outfield a lot of games, and you got Dom Nominus trying to get more at bats, and there's a logjam out there, and where Peckershine couldn't get many plate appearances. They did alleviate a lot of that with the Boston trade, getting rid of 2 outfielders. One was yours truly, but he just couldn't get the at-bats that he needed in Tampa Bay. So I think in Houston he is going to rake because I think he can get those at-bats. I think Wilbur is going to use Peckershine a lot more than Witt ever could with the talent that Witt has in Tampa Bay, and I think Houston can definitely elevate itself in the AL West race with a guy like Peckershine in their lineup, more so than Tampa Bay does, just simply adding a second starter in Hoos. Do y'all agree, or what do y'all think about that?
I mean, I think we're all in consensus that it seems like Tampa won it right now. So yeah, I definitely agree.
All right.
Do you think long term Houston has a chance to win it though?
Well,
he was talking about that. Kevin was away.
Oh, sorry, Kevin. Yeah, that was my point. Was that in long term Houston should win this trade? I think Peckershine's impact and what Meth Salt. That's another interesting guy, another depth catcher for Houston. The impact that those 2 players will bring to Houston will be greater in the long run than what Hoos will do as a second starter and Dogman will do as the third catcher for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I don't like depth catchers on the Astros for some reason. Maybe because I'm a catcher, but
all right.
We had one, and that's it.
All right, yeah. Let's look in here at the third question of our day. This one comes from John Johnson Jr. for the Detroit Tigers. He asked, "Who is worse at hitting, John Johnson Jr. or Monster Mash?" What a great question!
Oh,
all right,
this was submitted by John Johnson Jr. Right?
This is the most self-deprecating question I've ever seen on MLR Tonight. Nonetheless, we will debate it. Jay, the floor is yours. Do you think John Johnson Jr. is worse or Monster Mash?
Yeah, sure. I'll contribute to a circle jerk. Yeah, I think that John Johnson Jr. is entirely worse than Monster. In fact, I think he's the worst hitter of all time. I think I think it'll go 0 for 100, and it'll become like a spectacle. People will come to Detroit games specifically to see the streak in action because there'll never be one like it. I think John Johnson Jr. is the worst hitter I've ever seen. I think he couldn't hit a ball off a tee, off a fake tee. Take it away, Kev.
Oh my god. Actually, I don't. I think. I don't know.
I love you, John.
Mash is fucking awful, dude. I'm sorry. That dude just. I don't know what's going on. I remember early on in this. I remember early on in the season, he was like, "Oh, guys, you know," when he was on the Brewers, he was like, "Oh, fuck, I'm hitting really bad. Thanks for like carrying me. Thanks for getting those runs for me. I'll do better. I promise." That promise was bullshit because he hasn't done better. I don't know.
Are you personally offended?
His time will come. Not anymore. I'm on the Astros, but his time will come. Not soon, but it'll come eventually. And Johnson has gotten a walk. I don't know. Has Mash done that? I don't think so.
I think he has. He has. I was making his FBB ref.
No, he has not. No walks. Sorry, Mash.
Well, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah, Johnson's an up and coming player. I think he's a
Monster Mash is an RBI.
Oh, wow. Sack fly?
I guess so. Or a ground out, a double play. Oh no, you can't get an RBI.
Yeah, you can.
Good job,
you can
Mash.
get wait, you can get an RBI for double play, can't you?
No, it's not considered an RBI.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh well, that's depressing. Yeah, I don't know. JJJ is up and coming. He'll get some hits. Mash, I don't know. We'll see.
Alrighty.
What do you think, Kyle?
I'm going to say, I don't know. I liked Jay's concepts of John Johnson, of Zoom using John as this ticket selling machine. Like everybody's just going to come on to watch the worst player of all time. Almost like almost like a fair exhibit. Like, you know, at the fair, how that was like those smallest, go see the world's smallest man. Like everybody's going to want to go travel to Detroit, to Comerica Park, to go see the world's worst hitter in baseball. Number 11, out of England.
John Johnson Jr. is the bearded lady of MLR.
That's what I was gonna say.
Fuck you!
The bearded lady, JJJ. Oh my god!
Wow,
that's it.
That's the pull quote from this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Bird, John Johnson Jr. is the bearded lady of the MLR. Wow. All right, good to know. Let's move on to our final question of the day. This one comes from Mr. Doc Jam, Arizona Diamondbacks GM. He asks, who has more at the end of the day? And of course, we are about 2.5 hours from the end of the day. Total pitches thrown in the other 10 MLR games or Toronto hits? Great question there, Doc. For calculation purposes, we have Toronto has hit 8 hits off of Daniel Collins so far in this one, and we are about 1 out away from Toronto getting the chance to get some more hits. Honcho, Barry, and Jorgensen will lead off the third for Toronto if they get to swing again tonight. So, there are probably somewhere between 20 and 25 pitches thrown in the other 10 MLR games at this point. So, Jay, let me ask you first. Do you think by the end of tonight, in the next 2.5 hours, we will have more Toronto hits than total pitches thrown in the other 10 MLR games?
I mean, shit, dude. Joke question? I would assume pitches thrown.
Well, okay, just to clarify, this question was submitted. This question was submitted at 3:30 Eastern time when the ratio is 7 Toronto hits and 5 pitches thrown in the other 10 games. So that's when we got this question, and all of a sudden, every other game was
funny.
oh, by the way, I have to do things now, and so here we are.
That's funny. I like that. I'll meme with this one too. Toronto hits. Toronto hits until they run out of baseballs and they win they actually lose by forfeit because it's their baseballs.
Oh fuck!
They start trying to punch the balls, but it's not the same.
They're so good that they're bad.
Or no, they have no balls, not no bats. Shit. Oh, shit. They start throwing each other.
They break bowling. They break every bat. It's all broken. That's it. They can't hit anything.
And then they forfeit because they can't There you go. That's the story for today.
It.
Wrap it up.
All right. All right. Still no game update, surprisingly
Do we
enough.
have another question, Kyle?
Oh, do you have a question?
Well, we were just asking if there's another question.
That's all we have for right now for this edition setup. So those are our 4 fan mail questions. Again, if you want to have your question answered on another broadcast tomorrow, all right, please PM me or anybody else in the MLR Tonight crew.
Though?
What was that? Jay, what'd you say?
Do you have a game update, though?
I do not have a game update. That's what I was saying. Still no game updates from really anywhere in the last 30 minutes, shockingly enough. Oh, you can talk, Kev. What's up?
Kyle?
Yeah.
I guess we're about to sign off, right?
Yeah. Though I was gonna. Yeah, we have about 7 minutes left in the broadcast, so I was gonna move on to our final thoughts, unless you guys have anything you want to jump onto real fast, topics wise.
I wanted to ask you if there's a team you would take a pick on. Like, there's a team that you would say, okay, this team's probably gonna win the game.
Oh, yeah, we can do that really fast.
I wanted to see, yeah, like a pick 'em, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like what game? Like what team do I know 100% is going to win their game without a doubt?
Yeah.
I think Blue Jays is going to be a little bit of a cheat. I won't say that. Indians should beat the Orioles handily, in my opinion. I don't think Jaeger in his first game for the Orioles will have anything for that Indians offense. They are fast. They are lightning quick. I understand there are a lot of new guys, but the one thing that the Indians have shown is that they don't need is team chemistry. They go out, they do their thing. They're almost like robots. They fight for BB. There's those little minions, and they go out and they play aggressively no matter who they are. They don't even have to be friends. They may have met each other 12 minutes ago, and yet they'll still go out and fight for each other. So the pace of play there is absurd, and Baltimore will not be able to keep up.
The Rays have an actual half Ingram Carp.
What'd you say?
So checkmate.
Oh yeah, that is true. That's
true.
Jay?
Did I die there?
No, we're asking you. What's your pick'em?
Oh, fuck you, the Orioles. I think the Indians are under the dust cloud of the Morello curse, where since Morello left them, so have all the wins. It's not immediate. It's one of them curses where it's like, you know how like sometimes you don't know you have like an STD until like a month.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean I get that all the time, but it's like that. Like it's like a curse. It's a curse that has not activated yet, and I feel like the Indians are never going to win again.
All right,
for the rest of the season.
For the rest of the season.
Wow.
Until they change their name to the AL Florida Marlins.
Okay, Cav, what do you think? Who's your pick'em?
Okay. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the Phillies win over the Cardinals.
I love you.
Wow.
I'm gonna say that the Phillies win and take this momentum, and they do it.
Wow.
And fuck the Cardinals. That's what I'm gonna say.
I like you, Poe. That's a good article. I like
No.
Poe. I made Jack Bing made a good article about him.
Okay.
Spoilers. All right. Let's move on to our final thoughts segment. Of course, this is how we end most of our shows, where each of our guests and myself will take their time to take the floor all to themselves. They can ask a question, they can make a rant, they can step all over their soapbox, they can murder the entire league, they can do a little dance, they can do whatever they want to do.
That's great.
Jay, as our GM on the panel, we will begin with you. The floor is yours. Give us your final thoughts.
Okay. Hold on. I'm getting some messages from an anonymous. No anonymous person. I'm not going to do that. I just wanna say that the Philadelphia Phillies are a great team of lovable people, and I love them all. I'd like to shout out Mr. Zach Anderson. Good job for your first home run, buddy. I'd like to shout out Mr. Charlie Bay. Great job for your first home run, buddy. Great job to both of you. You guys did really well. I don't know. I love my team. I think they're going to do great. I love the Cardinals, but fuck the Cardinals. I was gonna say something, but like I have really bad short-term memory loss. I don't know if it was gonna be controversial because I completely forget it. But yeah, my team's the best, and go Phillies. We're gonna repeat, and then you are all gonna cry.
Good job, Jay. All right, Kev, floor is yours. Give us your final thoughts.
Okay. I think the Phillies are gonna win. They're gonna do big things. I think the Giants are gonna win, and they're gonna quickly become the best team in the league. I think the Brewers are gonna win, and Dan is gonna cement himself in All-Star Game history. I think the Astros are gonna win and become an up-and-coming team. I think JJJ is one of the best up-and-coming players. What else? What else can I say? I don't know. I think the next 2 weeks are going to be very big for league. I don't know, for individual players. I think we're really going to see who is a dominating force. If Cal Tapires Jr. is really a top 5 player, if Dan Jerzon is really a top 5 player, Hildebrand, Darth Vader. We'll see. We'll see how all that goes. And vote DCM for All-Star Game.
Vote Kyle Mack for All-Star Game because he's actually really good, and I feel like nobody knows who he is. Or they do, but they don't know he's good. So check out his stats and vote him for second base.
Let's go DCM, Peter Peckershine.
Yeah, let's go DCM. I like him too.
Kevin Arianna, if you if you have an extra vote.
The good thing about being on separate leagues is that we plug each other's people.
Yeah, exactly. Go
Kyle Mack, Miguel Snow,
Mack. Yeah, that
Jackson
Takegi. I was about to say.
Dude, I really like
vote Owen
the ads you
Urich.
made.
I will vote Owen Urich. I will not. I'm not kidding. I'm going to vote Owen Urich. Just putting that out there. Anyway,
well, you can't vote for Owen. So
I'm going to cast a emotional vote for Owen Urich.
Yo,
all right,
Kyle, did you see the ads that Jay made?
Ads. Oh, for the All-Star Game. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, he made some really cool Phillies ads.
I was pretty impressed by that, Jay.
Cool. I mean,
I like this.
All right, my final thoughts now. Sorry, I just don't want to interrupt. We're at the 2-hour mark now, so let me go ahead and give you my final thoughts. And usually I do my soapbox moment where I stand up and make a plea to the MLR community or say something locally, and I will definitely continue that statement tonight. Pops, I'm going to make a plea with you. Or Pops and Meerkat, I'll make a plea with both of you on the stats page. Pops and Meerkat, this is my plea to you. We are moving into, as Meerkat, you definitely know, we're moving into a much more advanced statistical era in MLR history. We are no longer simply paying attention to batting average and innings pitched. We are paying attention to slugging, OPS, WOBA. We are paying attention to everything. But the one thing that we all need, we know we need to pay attention for, is WAR. Wins above replacement. WAR. What is it good for? Absolutely everything. All right? War missing? Why are we missing WAR from our stats page? Who knows? That is the most important stat anybody could have. That is a way to evaluate players easily and quickly. And yet, I have to dig through lines and lines of mere stats to be able to find what my WAR is. I have to filter sheets upon sheets of mere stats. I have to filter columns upon columns just to figure out who is better than who and why Dan Jerzon of all people has the best WAR of any pitcher in the league. I had to filter through everything just to find my wins above replacement. It should be that way. We should add wins above replacement onto the main spreadsheet. I am begging you, Timothy Pops Moyer, Meerkat Timmons, please add WAR to the stats on the spreadsheet. Thank you. That is my final thoughts.
Can we make a rumor that Meerkat's middle name is Samantha?
Meerkat Samantha Timmons.
I am down with that. Meerkat
That's
Samantha
canon.
Timmons. That'll be his little nickname in quotes like everybody else has on the Discord.
Kyle?
Yes.
Can I plug myself real quick?
Go for it.
MLR Top 10 is going to have 2 episodes out within the next week.
Whoa.
Oh, damn.
And
Breaking
Jay
news.
is going to plug himself?
Go for it, Jay.
Look out for J War, which is going to be better than Meerkat.
Wait, what the fuck? I thought you were going to plug Make a Case.
Yeah, Make a Case took a break this week, but we should be back next week because I'm back this week.
Good shit. All right, Kyle.
All right, awesome. All right, Kev, Jay, thank you for joining me on this week's edition of MLR Tonight.
Thank you for having us.
All right. We will be back sometime, probably not tomorrow, maybe back next weekend. We may be back later this week with another crew. New host, maybe? Who knows?